next pop, the funk shall be within you. Now I run the game, got the whole world talking. King culture, everybody wanna cut the legs off. King culture, black man taking no losses. Oh yeah.
All right, let's get to it. I'm here to review Cloud9 versus TSM. I was trying to remain spoiler free, completely spoiler free, no social media, no nothing, and then I get hit with this shit. What the hell, man? So now I know it's 5 games, so that sucks. I want to not waste time. I want to get right into it. I'm a bit rusty when it comes to pick and ban, but I'm sure we will pick it up as the series goes. All right, let's get to it.
Away for Ray because that is
I'm
something
gonna lower the sound on this a bit.
banned away a lot against them.
If anything, Ash ban is. I think this sets up for Caitlyn, if nothing else. Graves. I'm surprised. Like NALCS and ELCS have so different priority on jungle because usually, like Rengar blue side ban would be something that happens on red side, and Graves is to pick into Rengar, but this is obviously different. Rumble ban against Haunter. Okay. Fine, fine, fine. I thought Ray was the big carry player, and if you're a carry player, then you have picks into Rumble, like the cannon, yeah? Hovering a Riven. Alright, I think I can speed this up a bit. Speeding it up. Maybe I should just increase the gain speed here. Yeah. Lulu first pick. I guess it's something that SKT were doing, picking it blind because it's solid and also you can flex it into mid laner. Ivan is something that like came back all of a sudden later on in the playoff round. I think as a champion it scales so freaking good, and the early game is not as weak as people might think it is. I think you need to play in a very specific way where you look to punish an Ivan because he really can't fight you back. I think the G2 game against the first G2 game against UOL is a very good example of that, where Rumble got to start on enemy Raptors, and the thing is when Ivan gets to like divide the map in a sense where you start on his red side and he invades your red side, he can't really take the smaller camps because he needs to come back and it takes a lot of time if he starts on the wrong side of the map. So if you place the good wards, you can ensure yourself a better start and you'll be ahead on camps. But the strength of Ivan is obviously he can build redemption, gets really early on the game, is very strong in team fighting, and scales very good into the game. But in the case of G2, Rumble does that very well, but Rumble is banned, so unlucky. Okay, let's get to it. LeBlanc is banned, so the Lulu flex doesn't really matter that much. Karma into Lulu, even if Lulu all of a sudden runs into some different lane, then it's still fine. I wonder if over in North America they play Cannon AD. I think Lee Sin should have a decent matchup into Ivan. So here's the Caitlyn that comes in. I thought that if anything, C9 were lining themselves up for picking Kate in this rotation because like the ADs you can pick into Kate is almost non-existent. Like there's Varus, there's Ashe, and if you want to play it, maybe there's Jhin. Um, but beyond that, anything that Caitlyn heavily outranges, she's gonna shit on. So that sucks.
Yeah, if they put that Karma bottom lane, that is such a sin though because that is widely to run.
Renekton ban. Why would you ban Renekton if you have Cannon Flex?
Yeah, and I do also think there's an additional layer here where to get their pick of the litter counter pick.
Syndra ban. So I'm assuming C9 will just play Jhin here, because that's what makes sense to me. Like, sure, it doesn't have as much of a synergy with Lulu, but for the lane matchup in bottom, I think that's what makes sense. I think if you want to play anything low range, you're just gonna get shat on and pushed in the entire game. Orianna ban after Syndra ban, I think that makes sense. Like, you're trying to deny the blind pick. Syndra ban is like Syndra's the only good champion into Orianna. LeBlanc is also out. Orianna is a great blind pick here. I think the ban makes sense. Camille. I guess that's somewhere you could play Cannon into, especially if like a weakness of Camille Ivan is that the 2v2 shouldn't be as strong on top side, and usually in a lot of games where Camille is relevant, it's all about the 2v2 top lane because it's easy to pressure both ways. Like it's easy to gank Camille lane, and it's easy to create pressure on the Camille lane because she, like especially with the cannon, like Cannon's gonna have pressure in this matchup for sure. Okay, back to it. I'm gonna take a sip of water. I'm curious what C9 will blind pick as mid lane. I think it's really hard to pick here. We'll see, I guess. Like Oriana, Syndra's out, LeBlanc is out. Can't really pick AD mid laner. Like Vladimir is one. I guess Vladimir is not one. Vladimir, like anything that you pick here will get countered, so it's really difficult. But the main thing here, what I feel is like if you pick Cassiopeia, like you're gonna get countered mid regardless of what you pick here. There's nothing that is a good blind. I think you should look to pick something that is good into the enemy champions. And while Cassiopeia might be fine against Camille, I don't even think it's that good because like you can easily avoid the ultimate. Maybe you can deny her jump with W, but this is an interaction that will rarely happen. I think Cassiopeia against champions like Karma, Ivan, Caitlyn, you're just gonna get kited to shit. And also, you put in a worse matchup, like you're not gonna be useful at any point in the game. And on top of that, with the Lucian against Kate, I feel like they're gonna get smashed and pushed in bottom. That's just what's going to happen. So C9 have only one thing to play on, and that is getting an advantage to top lane, which if TSM execute properly, like if they have pressure around mid in this matchup, unless like Lee Sin and Cassiopeia can win when Lee Sin is 6 in a 2v2, that's something that can play on too, right? Lee Sin kick is very powerful at level 6, but assuming they pick something that is good into Cassiopeia here, I don't know, could be trying to figure out what could be picked into Cassiopeia that is good. Anything. Talia is one, I guess. Talia is probably the perfect example of a champion that you know you can push in and then you can just pressure all over the map. And I think against Cassiopeia that should work fine. If anything, C9's redemption is at around 6. They should be able to win 2v2, but 2v2 around mid, and I think that's what they have to play on. But in terms of scaling, I think TSM are heavily in favor because later on they should win splits and later on they should win the midway priority unless Lee Sin gets some amazing kick. So C9, like looking at the draft, they have a lot of flaws and weaknesses. I think they have to play on the fact that they get a heavy advantage on top early on in the game, and then at around 6 when like Tele ultimate becomes online, they need to pressure around the 2v2 on mid because Lee Sin level 6 should be stronger in the burst fight against Talia Ivan. So beyond that, I think it's pretty scary that C9 is going to get perma pushed in bottom. I feel like if TSM get the early advantage around mid and Ivan doesn't get pressured, it's very hard to just invade straight up against Talia with Lee Sin. Then I think they can take away the game rather easily. C9 really need to get an early advantage and alleviate as much pressure from bottom as possible. We continue. Let's jump into it. I'm gonna take a sip, another sip.
Showing up your weaknesses, right? If you're a contract, do you go and try to snowball that cannon, or do you try to help out an already losing lane?
What are these Nikes, man? What are those? Can't win Nikes on the final stage, man. Reaper had nice shoes though. Right.
Pivotal against the Ivern because of the counter jungling potential, but also because Lee Sin can get out so many America if they can.
What Ivern wants to do in most cases is just do a full clear, become unscathed, and then just scale into the game.
And part of that may simply be that he's expecting contracts to try to invade him and hit.
Oh. Oh. Well, that's a rough start. I don't know how much it matters, but it should matter. Like, Cassiopeia still has a lot of mana. Right here, C9 spotted the Ivan. Already no biscuits on Talia, that should be rough. Very good for Cassiopeia. Like, if she... the goal of Cassiopeia in lane is to just lane until she can just base on tier, which should be, like, what is it, like 24 CS or something. They spotted Ivan here because of the cannon ward that they placed. But the problem is now is that they have so much pressure on bottom because of the bot lane matchup. Like Lucian's half health against Kaelin Karma. I don't know. I'm assuming Lee Sin should be able to get away. I guess Talia also moved. Oh, he's pretty screwed. Oh no. I this is the point where in a lot of games in EU, at least in scrims, is the game is over right now. You know, like Ivan gets to go ahead. He gets to pressure into top side for free. Lee Sin is off the map, and like it's so obvious that Lee Sin is gonna pass on the bottom because he's going to do his red. So TSM have a lot of free time to pressure the cannon and alleviate pressure from Camille, and that's gonna be very rough. Could also be the case that Ivan goes into the topside camps and just clears them away. He has smite to do on Gromp, and he even marked them earlier, so he doesn't even need to uh, like doesn't even need to use the smite. That's a flash. Cannon's also slow pushing towards top lane. I think it's a really rough situation here. Really, really rough. Lee Sin's path is really obvious. He's on bot side, red side. Bottom is flashing away as well. Well, the game is opened up completely. If anything, like Cassiopeia, getting a good base into tier after this minion wave should be the goal for her, and maybe C9 can do something around mid. I guess this was like TSM's strategy pretty much that we can divide the map into top side. Lee Sin has to invade bottom side to equalize, and we're pushing bottom, and it should be very easy to punish because it's very obvious that Lee Sin has to go for enemy blue buff. So I like this a lot. If you look at the draft, like you can't say that TSM just came into the draft with the idea that they wanted to execute this. The problem was that like Cloud9 just gave away Caitlyn. They shouldn't have given away Caitlyn. Caitlyn just has the freest lane I've ever seen against the Lucian Lulu as with Karma. It's just too hard to lane this, I think. Talia, of course, like you can't pick a champion that's going to push early against Talia, maybe Sul, but even in that case, it's like pressure from mid is going to happen. At least Cassiopeia gets a good base. I'm assuming she's going to base on tier here. That's pretty neat. All right. So two big issues now for C9. They don't have pressure topside. It's hard for Lee Sin to do anything. He's really behind. He lost his topside camps. He lost his bot side camps. He didn't get Ivan's bot side camps. Well, he didn't lose his bot side camps, but he lost Ivan's bot side camps in a sense. So Ivan is pretty far ahead, and as I mentioned earlier, Ivan scales like a shit ton. And even now, even when in a lot of cases, like looking in draft, the 2v2 situation should be harder for TSM, but in this case it isn't because Cannon has no flash and Ivan is ahead, so they have so little to play on. Lee Sin can't really run down bottom to gank, so the only real play that Lee Sin has to do is to either try to get something mid, but even there, like he's so weak that it's hard to create something. So right now TSM have full free reign to do whatever they want because bottom they can win 2v3 down there. We continue. Like right now, I think they should just pray that Lee Sin gets level 6 and then try to do a play in mid. I think there's nothing else to do in this game right now. This turned a bit too quiet.
Flash is still up for Bifrost, so Total playing far enough back. He's gonna miss up there. They with Ivern.
Sneaky also under first. Smithy, no flash. Maybe in trouble as well. Transferring in a walking, gets him brushed down. Spotted by the Scribes when loose there by contract to.
Should I speed this up a bit more? I guess I could.
Ray has caught back up its yes, but again, this seems good for Haunter early on. I mean, the pressure not working out isn't good for him, but the
Yeah, and Ray's sticking around quite a long time.
For Ray, he's gonna have to base, and the wave is gonna be frozen against him. So now he must push in that wave.
Lee Sin's level 4. I think Ivan should reach level 6 right here. I don't know if Ivan can do this invade right now. Like maybe he should just ward and walk out. Guess he could smite. But Lee Sin doesn't even spot him. I'm just seeing Camille freezing up top, and I guess he didn't take much of a risk. I could, maybe he would have to use his flash if Lee Sin caught him and Cannon walked that path. But Camille was freezing, that's why I was scared of what he was doing. It's also that Talia could potentially collapse first. But I don't think you want to force on that side of the jungle right now. Alright, so let's see what happens when Lee Sin reaches level 6. Can they do something in mid? Because I think that's really the only place C9 have right now. Maybe at 6, Lee Sin can also do something around top side. Yeah, they should be able to win 2v2 at least in 6 on top side as well. But I think if they don't do it through mid, then Talia is going to collapse and it's going to be a bad time. They also have this issue that they're on a clock because of bot lane, and like Kayle and Karma are eventually going to get the bot tower, and there's nothing to do about it. The only hope is to that Lee Sin makes a play on either mid or in top. I think it's even easier in top now that I think about it. Like Talia has double sums up. Sure, Camille has a summoner too, but um, running into Talia is way harder because she's a ranged champion and there's a long lane on top side that with the way Camille has been freezing the wave, it's very difficult to also make that play. But let's just wait up until Lee Sin reaches 6. I guess he doesn't reach 6. So I want to look at this from before. He gets to push in the wave. He gets to push in the wave and then he goes through the greedy path because he assumes that Camille was in base. So this kind of sucks, right? Because this is really game defining that Cannon that dies in this matchup, and once again Hansen gets to push in, and I'm assuming Cannon is going to burn TP to get back into lane right here because he's gonna lose too much and be too far behind. Oh. Alright. So Ray got screwed because he thought that Camille was on base, went through to try, wanted to ward, and then just base and go back. He doesn't use his TP. So right now, they are fighting. Camille is TPing first. Cannon is not TPing. Like right here, I feel like you've played your final card, right? Like C9 commit into this play on bottom. Lulu and Lucian are walking down the river, getting poked to shit. They are committing into this, right? If we look at the minimap, they're committing. Cannon is not TPing. Camille is TPing. And Cannon is still walking to lane. They are already committed, right? They've committed. If they thought this was a good play, then there's no turning back at this point. I think if this play doesn't go well, then they will lose the game, which and it just seems silly to me to not commit completely here. I have to see as well how Talia ultimate worked with the bottom side of the map. Let's see. Talia ultimate does it cut off Lulu? It only does because they walk downwards. I think if they walk straight and try to commit on this, then maybe the odds are higher. Because they did in fact have priority. They had priority into this fight. Like Lucian, even if he's behind, his call is really strong. I think this was the time to fight. This was the time to commit. Camilla's half HP and has no ultimate. I think they should have just committed into this fight. Like they're in such a shit position in the game that something has to happen, and I think this was the time. Lulu and Lucian had priority. They should just walk straight into here, try to assist us, and yeah, try to go for a fight. Like it kind of sucks that Cassiopeia doesn't have what's it called? Doesn't have Petrifying Gaze. I didn't even see when she used it. But I think they should have committed here. Like looking at the situation of the game right now, like Infernal Drake is gone. Cannon used TP, but it was a cancel, so that's fine too. Right? Camilla's not gonna lose that much unless like Cannon freezes, but who really cares? There's an Infernal Drake, and Kaylin is sitting on 2-0, and the game seems pretty doomed. They should have definitely committed on this bot lane. There was nothing else to it. Like the game is in such a, if the game is in such a bad position that you have this composition that needs to get ahead early, or you'll get outscaled heavily, and I feel like you need to just commit on those plays, even though maybe they aren't the optimal ones. You need to just play your odds because your odds are going to shrink as you continue into the game. You need to just do the play that is that gives you the highest odds in the game. Because now, as the game continues, The game goes on and on. Eventually, bot tower is gonna fall. They need to look to pressure top side, right? Pressure the 2v2 on top side, and hope for the best, pretty much. I still think that they can play through top side, because right now they're on a timer. They need to make use of these waves somehow to pressure into top side. It also really sucks that Cannon burned his TP, because in cases where, let's say, Ivan does the defensive play into top side, and Cannon gets to push in the waves, I still believe that they can win a 2v2 fight in some scenarios, right? In those cases where Cannon doesn't have TP, then you can't really transition the pressure from top side into bottom when Ivan is defending with that, right? Right now, Cannon's TP is coming online. Let's see what they can do about it. Right now, Sina have a TP advantage, and I think this is the only window they have to really do something right now. When the TP comes back up top, I'm not completely sure how the matchup in top lane works now at this point. If Camille can defeat Cannon in the 1v1, or how it works. I know from the get-go that if the matchup doesn't get heavily changed, then I know that Cannon has a slight advantage and Camille scales better into the lane. And then depending on how far ahead Cannon is, then it of course changes. But in this case, like the TP advantage is soon gone. I think we need to just continue to play through mid C9 and look to collapse into bottom, because they are currently losing the bottom tower. I'm looking at what TSM is doing, and I feel like they're taking risks to some degree. Like, sure, they are spotting, they are actually spotting the C9 players, so maybe you could say that they're not taking a risk. Talia could also always collapse, and they're just chipping away, not overcommitting. To be honest, they weren't really taking much of a risk. TSM is playing this out good. I think as long as TSM have this vision placed, then they can continue to do this. I think they got the vision back when the Drake got killed. Just want to take a look at TSM's vision game here. Karma's basing for Sidestone right here. Karma's moving through right now. Cassiopeia is stuck at the tower. He's kind of taking a risk. Karma's kind of taking a risk here. He's ballsy as fuck. Let me see here if maybe they're running with the assumption that Lee Sin should be on blue buff. Let's see if they spot him around top side. Spot him a river. Spotted Lee Sin in river killing a penguin. That could mean a lot, right? Like, Lee Sin could still be in this area. I feel like Karma is taking a risk here. Like, a risk that pays off heavily. Like, sure, there's an assumption that he's on blue buff, but he could be, might as well could have been bottom side, and he could have ran into a Lulu and a Lee Sin. But this risk massively paid off, because they got to chip away at the bottom tower heavily. Got the cannon kill. The play where I think Sina should have committed completely. Is this refreshed vision? It had to be, right? Yeah, it had to be. TSM are very happy if the game stands still, pretty much. Camille's gonna scale heavily, and as far as the game goes, TSM know that for sure. Bifrost reminds me so much of Mickey X, man. Bifrost good mechanically, but sometimes gets lost in the river and does very risky things. He's like a Mickey X over in North America.
I will say though, despite being behind on gold, Blizzard can get a kill. They still can get that first turret.
So at this point, when TSM no longer have a TP advantage, they can just run around and do the same thing over and over. Like Camille is picking up a red buff because of Ivan, right? So she should have pressure on the top side of the map. I think they can easily deflect a dive, and I think at this point, like the wave management in mid should be similar, depending. Like Cassiopeia should have enough mana with Morello and Tyr to just push the wave, but Talia has the advantage that she can just ult into a side and support it earlier than Cassiopeia. And with that in mind, I feel like the options for C9 are getting slimmer and slimmer. Because TSM could just keep doing this, where they walk into bottom side, push in. Um, the enemy bot lane shows on the tower. They go through river to get control over river. They will have priority into this side, play some vision. If no one's showing on the bot wave, then they're happy with that and they will walk away. Caitlyn gets to push for free and they can just keep doing this, keep doing this. And the only thing Cena can really do is just try to force, but that is really hard if you're getting pushed in on bottom. I think if anything, the play is that they just need to try to go through lane and just try to kick someone in. But that is also super hard if TSM are aware of what's going on pretty much. So at this point, Talia is getting priority in mid, can do the play first always through mid. And this sucks. TSM, they have all the options. Like, yeah, Cloud Drake. I really can't imagine C9 winning this game at this point. Pretty sweet by TSM. Play into top, pushing the wave, get the tower, rotate in the mid into bottom. Pretty insane. And now the game is super over. I think I'm just gonna let it play. I'm assuming it's over. There's been times in the past where I said this and oh, he should win this, right, Cannon? Cannon should win this, huh? Oh, that sucks. Doesn't matter. Main point is, I think draft wise, C9 got kind of smashed. I think it's important that you pick your mid laner earlier on blue side. You should try to get an Orianna and Syndra. Always these champions, I think, in terms of blind picking, Orianna, Syndra are the ones that give you the most space to do things with. I think LeBlanc is also one of those where you can do things through mid at an early stage. I think in this case, Cassiopeia was okay, but Talia seemed to have priority the entire game. I don't know if we can attribute that to the fact that Lee Sin was behind and kind of lost confidence in his play. But when they had this dragon situation at the Inferno, I think C9 should have committed big time. That was their opportunity to gain some traction in the game because TSM would eventually just take over completely because the options for C9 are going to eventually run out. I think also the fact that when they didn't commit on display, Cannon TP'd and did it for no reason. I believe he TP'd so late when Lucian and Lulu already walked out, and it was just a waste. Sure, he cancelled and his TP came back up at one point, and I felt like that was also a window where they could have done something. But after that, TSM could just permanently walk bottom as 3, push in the wave, get vision in bottom side river and into the bottom side jungle, and eventually they would chip away at the tower. Talia has the option of diving into top, defending the dive into top, and also supporting bottom. And I think that makes the game too hard. If Talia has so many options to play around and a pretty good matchup for herself, then I think the game is very difficult for C9. especially in a case where something about Talia is that she kind of falls off compared to a lot of champions. Sure, she still deals damage and does things as the game progresses, but she that gets heavily compensated by the other champions that are in the game, so it doesn't really matter as well. And post 6, like I think Cassiopeia comes online a bit too late for her to impact the mid lane matchup too hard. And then I think C9 also had that window where Lee Sin at 6 maybe could potentially do something, either top side or mid. I'm just gonna make sure to skim through this one just in case. Holy moly, Donald Trump. Alright, I think that there's no way the TSM lose this game, right? Yeah, I can see them walking off stage. Yeah, they're celebrating. No, they're not celebrating. Alright, that's game 1. I'm gonna take a breather, let my voice relax a bit. I'll see you on the next game. Peace.